Happy Friday. Welcome to your hand of the day for June 20th, 2025. In this one, our opponent makes some catastrophic errors, so let's mostly learn from them. All right, we are playing super deep stacked pretty early in a tournament. We've got a huge chip stack, and then the primary villain also has a big chip stack, and then we got some 20, 30, 40 big blind stacks too. So we get a raise off of a 17.5 big blind stack, which in retrospect I probably could have played differently, but let's just go through it. So I'm on the button, and ace jack suited can do a lot of calling. This was from several months ago, so I have since learned to do a lot more calling with my suited big hands in these kind of spots, especially against a raise from a shorter stack. It's just more likely they have a strong hand when they get closer to or under 20 big blinds. So anyway, I decided to raise. I also did not raise big enough. I went to 6. I guess that's okay, actually, because they only had 15.5 behind. So scratch that. I think that's fine. Now, catastrophic error number 1 from our opponent in the big blind. Do not ever cold call a 3-bet. So that's when someone raises, someone else 3-bets. You have 2 options. You can 4-bet, you can fold. Do not call. Do not call. Ever. But this opponent does. And you're going to see why that's a terrible idea. Original raiser folds. So I'm going to have position against an opponent who has just capped their range. What that means is I can pretty easily narrow down their holdings. They're going to have a lot of suited aces that are probably worse than mine. And they're going to have maybe some middling pairs. Let's say in the range of 8s to jacks, 8s to queens, maybe. But they really should be 4-betting those. So we go to the flop. So this is such a unique spot that GTO Wizard kind of wonks out here. You can see here it thinks this opponent has every possible combination of cards when they get to the flop. Obviously, that's not the case, but GTO Wizard's like, I don't even know what the freaking person could have because they're not never supposed to do this. So whatever they have, they're supposed to check. And now I think this is another wonky GTO Wizard doesn't know what to do type thing because it's saying bet pot with everything, damn near everything. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. So let's add a bet size of my typical 33%. And then let's add another one for, I don't know, 20% and just see if GTO Wizard likes any of those bet sizes more than the rest. So it's saying mostly I want you to bet large, but you can choose one of these smaller sizes some of the time too. I did 33. Opponent calls. Okay, let's stop here. What are they calling with? I think suited aces. Suited ace, right? Ace 5 of spades. Ace 5 of diamonds. Ace 4, same combinations. So they got an ace and they got a backdoor flush draw. They shouldn't be doing this, by the way. They shouldn't be doing this. This is stupid poker. They're just burying themselves. They're digging a hole. Keep on digging, bro. Now our ace hits. Glory. And our opponent's going to check again. Here, I'm thinking I probably have the best hand 90% of the time or more. Could they ever have ace king? Sure, probably not though. Ace queen, doubt it. Ace 2, ace 6, yeah, maybe. But there's an awful lot of accommodations of stupid stuff that I'm way ahead of. And so they should check everything. And now GTO Wizard wants me to bet 40%. I decided to size up, and the thinking here was let's get as many chips as possible into the pot. I'm not going to get all of them in because the pot's only 26 and we have 100 behind. So there's just no way I'm getting all the chips in. But I'm going to push it as much as I can. And given the way this opponent has played the hand so far, I'm thinking homeboy or homegirl just don't have a fold. If they have an ace, they don't have a fold. So I go to, what is that, about 70% pot? And our opponent calls. Cool. And these spots used to scare me off because I'd be like, well, only a rational person with a really strong hand would call these two streets, and then I'd get scared on the river. Not anymore. They check. I pot it. GTO Wizard, no. GTO Wizard gets scared. So ace jack, they get scared. Probably thinking the way I used to think. Only a moron would be calling with worse. Sometimes you're playing a moron. So I decided to pot it, which I'm not supposed to do with this hand, but whatever. GTO Wizard is a guideline. It is not the poker Bible. If you have reads, you want to exploit people, and that's entirely what this hand is about. Our opponent calls. So they call a 60 big blind bet on the river after I bet 3-bet preflop and then bet all 3 streets. And they have ace 3. Ace 3. You got to be out of your mind, bro. So let's learn from our friend here. Don't cold call 3-bets preflop. And don't stick around friggin' ace 3 against a 3-bet all the way to the river. You're dead. You lost. Could they have bluffed you? Sure. 9 times out of 10, you just lose. So let's not be like our buddy. See you next time.